Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining the session today. We know there are so many amazing and informative sessions being presented at this year's Accelerate, and we're excited and honored that you chose to attend ours today, so thank you very much. Today, we're going to talk about the EU Accelerator, Grow Your Business with Global Selling. My name is Mark Carver. I lead business development for Amazon Global Selling, and we're going to have some other great speakers today as well. My colleagues, Praneeth Pentakota, who's a senior technical product manager for international seller growth, and we have Tom Bell and Giorgio Riboldi, both senior managers, product safety and regulatory compliance. So let's have a look at our agenda for today. First, we'll share some information to frame the opportunity the EU represents. Second, Praneeth will introduce you to a brand new tool designed to help you understand your brand's and products' potential in the EU, including cost, regulatory, and compliance processes. This is the new Sell Globally experience. Then Tom and Giorgio, our experts on EU product and safety compliance, will provide guidance to help you navigate the upcoming General Product Safety Regulations in the EU, which we refer to as GPSR. And just to note, we'll have a Q&A at the conclusion of our session, so please feel free to use your in-app QR scanner and submit any questions you may have. Now let's look at some data points to really frame this opportunity in the EU. Online shopping population in the EU will exceed 586 million by 2027. There's been steady growth in the number of B2C e-commerce users in the EU, from 451 million in 2019 to 540 million in 2023, and it continues to increase. $2,000, that's the per capita e-commerce average spending in the EU. That's nearly double what it is in China, and more than 2/3 the US. Very active shoppers in the EU. $1 trillion. That's the expected e-commerce opportunity the EU represents, or will represent, by 2029. $1 trillion. And Amazon's footprint in the EU provides opportunity for you to reach customers in established stores, such as the United Kingdom, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, as well as emerging stores, including Netherlands, Sweden, Poland, and Belgium. And that list is likely to change by this time next year. So we're increasing our store count across the EU. So how can we help you optimize this opportunity? Well, product selection and guidance is primary consideration when expanding into EU. What from my catalog will sell? What costs will I incur? How much revenue can I expect? Well, as Praneeth will demonstrate shortly, the Sell Globally experience will help with all of that. Other things to consider are product compliance solutions, including tax, product, trade, and environmental. We have a service provider network with an extensive list of service providers that are specialists in all of these, as well as end-to-end service providers that can help you with everything from tax to compliance to logistics, accessible on Seller Central. Additionally, there are a range of options to help you with logistics and shipping. By sea with Amazon Global Logistics, and by air with our new service called Seller Export and Deliver, which we call Send. I'd like to pass the mic to Praneeth to introduce you to the Sell Globally experience.
Thank you, Mark. Those are some exciting data points around opportunity in EU. So how many of you are actually actively looking at expanding to EU? Can I have a raise of hands, please? Oh, that's great. There's a large majority in the room. So what are some of the challenges and questions you're dealing with? if you're first time you're trying to enter into EU. Do you want to know which store to start with? Should you start in UK, Germany, or something else, some other stores? UK? And do you know your customers well? Are they having the similar needs of the customers you're serving here in US? Are they very different? Do you not want to know more about your customers in Europe? Are there any mandatory regulations you really want to be sure of before you launch your business in Europe? Right? And a lot of basic questions around, is your cost going up if you're launching in Europe? Or is it more or less constant, right, with what you're dealing with in US? Is Amazon and a lot of other solutions and services which we deal with, are we helping you with on any of this to get to know your customers, to ship to this new region, EU, right? How do you ship to this region? So we have exactly the right solution for you to guide you on all these. So let's dive into that. So these are some of the challenges we just discussed about. Typically, sellers expanding to EU deal with all these issues. Now, this is the new Sell Globally experience we are launching in October in Seller Central. This will help you guide on all these aspects while launching in Europe. We'll dive into this experience in more detail. You can find this in Seller Central under the Inventory tab. So what is this Sell Globally experience? Firstly, it will give you a high-level summary about your opportunity in Europe. How much can you make in Europe and what it would cost in year one. So assume I'm a selling partner. In this case, I see that in Europe, in my year one, I have a $2.8 million potential sales, which I can make. At the same time, Amazon is also offering 25,000 incentives to get me started in EU. So any incentives Amazon offers, you will find it here. We also looked at, out of all the stores, which is the best store you should get started with. And we are suggesting that, in this case, you start with Germany. And we estimated a cost for you in year one. It's about $81,000. So how did we calculate all these numbers, the potential sales and costs? So let's dive in. You can click on the View Details button and get into the details of all of these. So firstly, we've broken down the potential in Europe store-wise. So in this case, you see that the selling partner has the highest potential in Germany, followed by UK and the other stores. You can slice and dice, get a sense of this opportunity in many ways. One way is you can click on ASIN level view, see all ASINs. We show you your US catalog ranked in the order of its sales potential for Germany. We predict the forecast, how much sales each ASIN will do in Germany. Also, I think this is something all of you will be noticing for the first time. If an ASIN is restricted by any regulation, we tag it as restricted. So you know which ones to pursue first. So you add up all the sales forecast numbers across these ASINs, you get the potential for that store. That's the idea. Now, you might be selling in multiple categories, right? So should you start with category 1, category 2, or should you go, what are your top 3 categories for Germany? Will that vary with UK and other stores, right? So you can, with this dashboard, you can get that information. Some of you are dealing with tens of brands. So should you go with brand 1 versus brand 2 in Germany? So all that information you can get with this dashboard. Even before starting your business in Germany, being in US Seller Central, if you want to get a sense of how big is my category in Germany, is it growing? Is it comparable to US, right? What are the top grossers or newly launched products in this category? How are they performing? Is their performance making sense? Can I really, if I aim to be in that range, does that work out for me? So all that information, benchmarking, you can do with this information in this page. So once you're done with assessing your sales potential, you can dive into the costs. So we have a new dashboard to help you with the costs you might incur when launching in Germany or other stores in Europe, as well as Japan. So firstly, these costs are more for illustration and guidance. You still need to do your more detailed estimation. Obviously, your cost will vary depending on the number of products you sell and how many units you ship. What we've done is we've taken the top 10 ASINs from your catalog, which have the highest potential to launch in Germany, and estimated the cost for those top 10 ASINs only. So over here, you see that these top 10 ASINs have a potential to generate $320K in year one, and about 10,000 units are expected to be sold. To generate this kind of a sale, you will incur certain FBA fulfillment and storage fees. There are certain Amazon fees, and you also have to ship these units to Germany. So an estimation of the shipping costs and some more information on this page. I'll let you go through that for a few seconds. On shipping costs, we provide you more detailed information. We have a couple of solutions on shipping. One is Amazon Global Logistics if you're shipping from China to Europe. And if you're shipping from US to UK or Germany, we have the Amazon Send. So the cost estimations using these solutions will be available in this dashboard. You can access these solutions from here. You'll have a quick access link. Now, you looked at the variable costs of your business, but if you're getting started for the first time in UK and Germany, are there any first-time costs, one-time setup costs you will incur? So we have an estimate for that as well. Example, you might have to take a new tax registration in UK or Germany. There are extended producer responsibility and other regulatory requirements you need to meet upfront. So what are the one-time costs of setting up a business? So we have certain service providers you can connect with who are based in Europe, who are based in US, as well as in China. So you have a quick access link to connect with any of them and get started with your work. You're done with getting a sense of your sales potential. You have a fair understanding of your costs. What next? Are you ready to dive in to look at starting your business setup for Germany? Then we have this good experience. We are launching for the first time from Amazon. You can click on this complete next steps for Germany. And we show you a checklist of steps to launch in Germany. So it's like you complete these 6 steps, you're done with your launch in Germany. And some of the steps which are very unique to Germany. For example, do you need to transfer your brand registry rights when you're launching in a new store in Europe, right? So guidance around these kind of steps which are unique while expansion, you can find them here. So let's take an example. I'll expand the step 3 on regulatory requirements further. You see that at an account level, we are suggesting there are a couple of actions you need to do, certain documents you need to submit to meet the local KYC requirements. And there is also an option to submit a tax registration. So if you take the tax registration, either you have to apply, take help, or you apply directly. So you'll have access to the service providers who can help you get a VAT registration in the same view. If you already have a VAT ID, you can click the Add button and submit the VAT ID from here. So do you like it? Do you find this list helpful? So net, using this experience, these are the 4 things you can achieve, what we just went through. Get a good sense of your sales potential in Europe. Get an understanding of your costs you will incur. Really compare your referral fee and other cost drivers between US and Europe. You can do that here. What are the mandatory regulatory requirements you need to meet in order to launch in Germany? And all the services, solutions Amazon and its partners have to offer to get you started on this journey. You'll find all of them in this experience. So I strongly encourage you to start using this experience and make the most of it. Good luck with your expansion journey in Europe. I'll hand it over to my colleague, Thomas, for the next session.
Thank you, Puneeth. So in the second half of this presentation, we're going to talk through the General Product Safety Regulation, or GPSR for short. Now, can I have a show of hands to start with, please? How many of you have heard of a GPSR? Fair number, maybe, just under half, maybe. And of those who have heard of it, how many know the details? A sprinkling of hands around the room, but not too many. So in this presentation, hopefully, you'll come out of it knowing a lot more. We're initially going to provide a brief overview of the European landscape and show how GPSR fits into it. We're going to explain the requirements of GPSR, the main ones in the time we have today. And then my colleague Giorgio will take you through the mechanisms we have built to make compliance as straightforward as possible. To place products on the European market, you have to comply with the relevant regulations. The GPSR will replace the General Product Safety Directive, and it comes into force on the 13th of December 2024. Now, this is a big change. The General Product Safety Directive was in place for over 20 years. So this is a major new EU regulation, an overarching one. And the date to remember from this talk is it comes into effect on the 13th of December of this year. That's the key date. It is designed to ensure that only safe products are placed on the EU market. And it works in harmony with product-specific legislation, such as toys. It applies to all products, with the exception of food and medicines. There are three main requirements we're going to talk about today. There are more in the regulation, it's quite a significant regulation, but the three main requirements we want to convey to you today to be aware of. These are, firstly, the European EU Responsible Person Requirement, or RSP for short. Some of you may have come across the RSP before. It originally came in the Market Surveillance Regulation in 2018 for CE harmonised products. With the GPSR, it's being broadened to everything the GPSR covers. The RSP will be required to regularly check compliance of a product with technical documentation and that the product bears type, batch, or serial number, manufacturer contact information, and is with safety information in the local language. The RSP will also need to provide evidence of the checks to market surveillance authorities upon request. The second point is manufacturer details. This is a requirement for details of the manufacturer to be displayed up front on the product detail page. And then the third requirement we're going to highlight today is product safety information. This is a requirement for safety information and warnings of the product to be displayed up front on the product detail page. So as a recap, we have the responsible person requirement being widened across all products that the GPSR covers. We have manufacturer details, and we have product safety information. Now, of course, we are supporting you to ensure compliance every step we can. Three key stages I want to bring to your attention. Firstly, we're providing help content in different forms, such as via Seller Central and Seller University. And I do recommend that after this presentation, you go and have a look at those if you haven't already. Secondly, we are reaching out to you through targeted communications, so you know what to do, and crucially, by when. And then thirdly, we have developed simple ways to identify and display the required information while keeping your product offer clear to customers. So I'm now going to hand over to Giorgio, who will go into some of the mechanisms we have built.
Thanks, Tom. So I guess that you might want to know, how can you provide the information that is required to make your products compliant under the regulation? So one thing to always remember here is that we are collecting this information, so the requirements that Tom explained, to display them on the detail page for authorities and customers to check, review, and you will see that, for example, authorities can contact our responsible person. So we built an entire landing page under the product policy compliance into your account health dashboard, which is your gateway to address all the tasks that relate to general product safety regulation. So Account Health Dashboard, or AHD, is the place to go to resolve the tasks related to GPSR. And let me show you how it works, because you will see that there are three types of issues into your AHD. We call issues, they are actually tasks for you to complete, right? And they obviously refer to the three requirements that Tom explained. So if you select a task that relates to the manufacturer details, this is what it will look like, and it will prompt you to provide the details of the manufacturer. You can select a previously submitted manufacturer if you have submitted it for another product and it's the same, for example. Or you can provide a completely new details, a new set of details for the manufacturer. A tip for you on this one is always provide the contact details. That can typically be an email address or the URL of the manufacturer. As this is required, as I said before, because authorities might want to contact the manufacturer. Most importantly, what they will want to know is that your responsible party is also responsible for your products and can provide the compliance documents upon request. So when it comes to submitting the RSP details, clearly we're talking about a very similar experience, right? It's a set of details like address and contact details, as I was mentioning before. Once again, you'll be able to provide previously submitted RSPs or create a new one into the interface that you're just seeing. So once you complete the tasks, both for manufacturer or RSP, you can go back to the Account Health dashboard, select a new task, and continue the process. The final type of task that you will see will be the one relating to safety warnings and safety information. Here you got two options actually, product documents and product safety images. So you don't have to provide both for your ASIN. Choosing one of them, the one that is most convenient for you, is enough. So providing product images, as you can see, will redirect you to Image Manager that you have been using maybe already. So here you'll upload images of your product. Typically that can be the packaging showing the warnings of your product. You're selling toys, that can be the face of the packaging showing this product is not suitable for children under 36 months. These will be required by the regulation and also add value for your customers that will be able to see that information that might be needed to make a wise decision. So if images are not readily available for you, you can provide a document. Here, you'll be prompted to select the type of document that you want to provide, the language of the document, and one important thing is to make sure you select the right type of document. Make sure that if you're mainly having user manuals for your products, you select the user manual in the drop-down for you to make sure that the document doesn't get rejected and you need to submit a new one. Couple of tips for images and documents. Images require to be high resolution and readable for customers. So if you have high resolution images, it will be a lot better for the experience. And for documents, as I said, if you have an installation manual, make sure that you're selecting the right under the drop-down. So what I've just shown you is the experience that you'll get from now until December 13th, when the regulation comes into force. Once the regulation is enforced, we will be required to collect these three types of information up front. Whenever a new product is created, you'll need to provide the information before the product can go to sale. So you'll be using the listings template. Whenever you create a new ASIN, you will see the information in the boxes under the Safety and Compliance tab, and you will be providing them before your product goes on sale. While for the existing products that you have on sale now, you have time until December 13th in the Account Health dashboard. We got you covered. A lot of information, but I hope that it was extremely valuable for you. And let me give you 3 key takeaways for this session before we move into the Q&A. So use Sell Globally to expand more easily. Sell Globally will help you identify your opportunities. Optimize your business in Europe. Leverage selection, guidance, recommendations, compliance support. And finally, prepare for GPSR. It's a very, very big regulation that will impact almost your entire catalog unless you're selling food or medicines. So prepare in advance. Contact a responsible person, for example, if you need one. And after December 13th, as I mentioned, you'll be providing this information upfront to us. We want to be able to collect this information and show it on the detail page so that we can comply, make you strive, and obviously make sure that you can expand easily.